Hey everyone, in this tutorial we are going to explore two-point perspective. So one-point perspective, which we had just finished, was based on one vanishing point and all of these lines radiating from it. We were drawing or using that to help us create perspective. And now we are going to do this with 2 points, so two vanishing points with lines radiating. And this intersecting grid will help us to draw a realistic kind of view of the background. Here's a picture also with there would be vanishing point somewhere back here on both of these. And again, this is an example of what it could look like. So often you'd think of kind of corners of buildings where you can see down to different streets in where it intersects. So I'm going to show you how to actually start creating these grids. And it's going to be based off the way we just did. With the one-point perspective, so I'm not going to spend tons and tons of time going through exactly what I'm doing step by step because you've already done this before. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the ruler, the top, and my horizontal ruler, and I'm going to create a horizon. And I'm going to grab two actually this time because I'm going to actually make my vanishing points a little bit off the canvas. Part of the reason why we're going to do that is because it doesn't look very realistic when they're so incredibly close. Like if you had a vanishing point here and then another one here, it'll look very, very peculiar, although it can work in some cases. So we're going to do it with them just off the page. So I'm actually showing where the vanishing points will be. One will be here, the other one will be over here, and that's where I'm going to place my polygon tools. So let's do it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so I can drag this polygon tool. So again, polygon tool selected, lots of sides, 100 sides, and the star is engaged with 99% indent sides. So I'm going to put it here right on the intersection between those two, and I'm going to drag it out. So that's one. I'm going to enter. I'm going to do the same thing over here, and I'm going to drag it out, and you can see it's creating this intersecting grid. And I'm going to do that as well, and I'm going to hit enter again. So we have this grid line. If you find that this grid is not intricate enough for you, the nice thing is that we can actually go back here in the exact same place where the vanishing point is, and you can actually place them. So this is where it is currently. You can actually rotate it slightly, and you can place it between the two sets of grid lines. So you can see if I zoom in closer, it's a lot more intricate, but I actually don't want it in this case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge the polygon 1 and polygon 2 and create one layer. So I have held shift and I'm picking both of them. I'm going to right click on PC and I'm going to click merge shapes. So this is creating one layer, and I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call it grid lines. So I'm going to hit enter, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually sketch on this layer, but I'm going to turn down the opacity of the grid line layer. Turn it down quite low so it's not incredibly distracting on the sketch layer. So I'm going to go in and I am going to start creating a building. And again, I'm going to use my brush tool, and I'm using color that's not quite black, so it's not incredibly harsh. And I'm going to turn on my pressure setting up here. So what I'm going to do is, let me see here, is I'm going to first draw in this horizon line. So I'm going to hold shift, and it's going to, remember, it's going to create that perfect looking horizon. So if you want to, you can actually move this ruler out of the way for you here. So I'm going to go back to my brush tool, and I am going to start creating kind of a structure of some sort. So I'm going to start here, Gonna make it go that far. And actually I'm gonna turn pressure off because it's not gonna be dark enough for me. And again, this is going to be the corner of my structure, and I'm going to build it moving upwards, but I want it to look pretty decent, and I want it to be quite vertical. So I'm going to use these grid lines, or guides, sorry, these guides again from the ruler to help me get that really, ensure that it's in fact parallel to the outer canvas. So I'm going to make it probably around this high, and there we go. And now I'm going to use this, I'm going to follow this line here that's made, and then I'm going to go parallel to this grid line here. So I'm going to travel along, oh sorry, actually I'm saying it incorrectly, I want to go this way. There we go. Basically your goal is to create that, you're using that line from there to there. So if you don't have a grid line that's directly in place, what you can do is you can actually go off a little bit here. So I'm gonna, here's gonna be my mark, and I'm actually wanting to connect it to there. So you can actually, you can use that intersection to help you figure out where that line should be. And then you can actually, can go back to my eraser tool and just take it directly out of there. So, well, again, a little bit kind of sloppy there, but you get the idea behind there. So I want you to create some structures, and I'm going to pause and then show you what I have in a few minutes, and actually see what you can do in this kind of world. So play around with it for a little bit, build some structures if you want to make some buildings, or if you want to make kind of a sci-fi looking city, totally up to you. Here is so far what I have finished based off that initial square in our 2-point perspective. I've hidden the grid lines. It's supposed to be kind of a Star Wars feeling kind of outpost, and clearly it is not done. I gave it a little bit of color just so it added dimension, put some gradients in. Based off of the Kirby tutorial, very similar way. I did that, and of course it's unfinished, but just wanted to show you what you can do with just some simple techniques.